Do you believe that just one small habit before exercising could determine whether you stay flexible, avoid dangerous falls, and even prevent serious injuries after the age of 60? Picture an athlete standing in the training room. He's warmed up, he's ready to compete, and now he bends down to stretch his hamstrings. Many of us have done the same thing before morning exercise, before a walk around the park. But does stretching really protect the body, or is it simply a ritual we followed because we've heard others say it works? Older adults are often advised by doctors and health experts to stretch every day to keep joints flexible, reduce back pain, and even lower the risk of stroke and heart problems. But have you ever wondered what actually happens inside your body when you hold a stretch for just a few seconds? Why can maintaining one position briefly affect not only your muscles and tendons, but even your brain? And most importantly, how long do these benefits last? Hours? Days? Or just a fleeting moment? What surprises many people is that medical research shows the effects of stretching only last about 10 minutes. That's right. If you sit back down after stretching and stop moving, the flexibility you gained almost completely disappears within minutes. This means that all the effort of stretching each morning may be wasted if it isn't followed by movement. So, have we been doing it wrong all these years? Or is there a hidden secret about stretching that most people don't yet understand?
And here's the encouraging part. When done properly, stretching doesn't just provide a temporary benefit. It can create lasting changes inside your body. It can help your muscles maintain strength even at longer lengths, keep your joints mobile, and lower the risk of falls, strains, and joint pain as you age. But the question is, how can such simple movements lead to such long-term transformation? Before I reveal this hidden mechanism, let me ask you for a small favor. If you truly care about your health as you grow older, click the subscribe button right now. Give this video a like and leave a number in the comments. Type 1 if you believe stretching can save you from injury, or type 0 if you're still skeptical and want the scientific explanation. So, are you curious to know what's really happening inside your body every time you stretch? Let's take a closer look inside the body to understand what really happens when we stretch. At first glance, many people think of muscles like rubber bands. Pull them, let them go, and they simply snap back. But the truth is far more complex. Our muscles are not only elastic, they are viscoelastic. That means they both spring back and also undergo small structural changes when stretched. Have you ever noticed that the longer you hold a stretch, the more comfortable it feels and the less tight your body becomes? On a larger scale, when you stretch your hamstrings, for example, you're not just pulling the muscle fibers, you're stretching the surrounding connective tissue, including the tendons that attach muscle to bone. These tissues are rich in collagen and elastin, two proteins that give natural elasticity. That's what allows us to extend our legs beyond their normal range of motion. But at a smaller scale, the story becomes even more fascinating. Each muscle is made up of millions of tiny units called sarcomeres. These microscopic motors shorten when you contract and lengthen when you stretch. When you hold a stretch for about 30 seconds, sarcomeres gradually slide apart, allowing the muscle to lengthen slightly. In other words, your body is never locked up. It's always capable of adapting. This explains why many studies conclude that stretching before activity doesn't fully prevent injuries. Its benefits last only for a short time, like a golden window where your body becomes more prepared for movement. That's also why many professional athletes prefer dynamic stretching, continuous movement while stretching rather than holding still in one position. Because if you stay still, the benefits quickly fade away. So the question for older adults is this: is there a way to turn this temporary effect into real, lasting change so that your body can stay flexible for years to come? Before we uncover the secret to permanent flexibility, think about your own body. How long has it been since you truly stretched out, straightened your spine, lengthened your muscles, or bent down to touch your knees without a sharp pain? If your answer is too long, you'll be even more surprised at how remarkably your body can adapt and change when trained the right way. So, what is the secret that makes daily stretching not just temporary, but capable of reshaping your muscles for the long run? What's fascinating is that our bodies don't stop at short-term changes. If you're consistent, stretching can actually create long-lasting adaptations inside your muscles. Do you know what happens when a muscle is stretched regularly, day after day? It begins to add on new sarcomeres, like linking extra chain segments into a rope. And the more sarcomeres your muscles have, the better they can maintain strength even at longer lengths. This means you can take longer steps, bend down more easily, and move without worrying so much about losing balance or straining a muscle. Isn't that exactly what anyone over 60 would hope for? The freedom to move confidently without the constant fear of falling? It's not just the muscles that change. Your brain adapts too. The more often you stretch, the higher your pain threshold becomes. At first, you may feel tightness the moment you bend slightly, but after a few weeks, your brain learns that the sensation is safe and allows you to reach farther. This isn't just flexibility of the body, it's flexibility of the nervous system. Do you see how daily practice trains not only your muscles, but also your mind? Think of Mr. Richard, 72, from Texas. He had osteoporosis and was very hesitant about exercise. He often feared falling when grocery shopping alone, knowing even a small trip could throw him off balance. After his doctor suggested starting with just 10 minutes of stretching each day, he broke it into short sessions, morning after waking, midday after lunch, and evening before bed. After 2 months, he noticed his back felt less stiff, his hip joints were looser, and most importantly, he walked with more confidence and less fear. Do you think this small change may have saved him from a hospital stay for a hip fracture? Science shows that for lasting benefits, older adults need to stretch at least 10 minutes a day, consistently for about 2 months. It may sound like a lot, but you can easily break it into short sessions of 2 to 3 minutes. You can stretch on the sofa while watching TV or while waiting for the kettle to boil. Can you see how just a few scattered minutes can transform your body's flexibility for years to come? Of course, not every stretch is safe. If you push too far, you risk forcing your joints into dangerous positions. In fact, people who are too flexible may have a higher risk of injury because their joints lose stability. That's why the key advice is to stretch just enough, to the point of feeling tension but never pain. Remember, the goal isn't to become a gymnast, it's to keep your body strong, mobile, and safe as you age. So now the question is, do you think stretching is truly necessary for all physical activity, or is it only useful in certain situations? When stretching is truly useful. By now you might be thinking that stretching is a magic pill, that as long as you do it regularly, you can prevent every injury. But the reality isn't quite that simple. Not every sport or activity requires a high degree of flexibility. Take long-distance running, for example, a favorite exercise for many older adults. Running actually uses only a small range of motion in the hip and knee joints. This means stretching won't do much to prevent the most common running injuries, such as knee pain or Achilles tendinitis. So does this mean we've been wasting time on movements that aren't really necessary? Don't be discouraged. Stretching is still incredibly useful in other situations. For people who frequently suffer from back tightness, calf cramps, or stiff shoulders upon waking, just a few minutes of stretching each day can make a noticeable difference. Think of it as muscle insurance for aging, helping you move more comfortably and lowering your risk of falls. Do you see that the real question isn't whether stretching is good or bad, but whether you're doing it the right way at the right time? Every body and every lifestyle requires a different level of flexibility. Someone like Mrs. Mary in Florida, who has high blood pressure and high cholesterol, may need gentle stretches to reduce stress and keep blood flowing smoothly. Meanwhile, Mr. Richard in Texas, who once feared falling, needs hip and hamstring stretches to walk more steadily. There is no one-size-fits-all formula. Don't you think the most important thing is listening to your own body instead of comparing yourself to others? And here is the final message I want to leave with you. Stretching isn't magic, but when done properly, it can become one of the simplest daily habits to protect your health as you age. Instead of worrying that every step might lead to a fall, you can regain confidence, flexibility, and control over your body. Aging does not mean you must endure pain or depend on others. Would you like to turn those few minutes of daily stretching into the key to living longer, healthier, and happier with your family? Before we wrap up, I have a small request. If you found this video helpful, please hit like, click subscribe so you won't miss future health tips for people over 60, and leave a comment to share your own experience. Do you stretch regularly? Have you ever noticed your body change after just a few weeks of practice? Write it down so we can learn from one another. And don't forget to share this video with your friends or loved ones because who knows, one small stretch today might help them avoid a big pain tomorrow.